Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Aubrey.
Thank you so much for joining our conversation. Appreciate the time taken out.
My
So, without
pleasure.
let's not waste any more time. Andrea, please tell people about yourself.
Uh, my name is Andrea, and I am born in Calcutta, brought up on the tea plantations of North Bengal and Assam, and lived a very privileged life till the age of 16, like you would know because you've had the same similar journey. And yeah, so basically did most of my education in a place called Binaguri, which is a school by Irish patrician brothers and sisters of Notre Dame. And then onward to Calcutta. And my father passed away in that time. Must have been about 16. And soon I just did my, high school and stuff. And then I got a job offer in Mumbai to fly with an airline. It was Jet Airways. And it was a dream come true because I always wanted to fly. And so took off to Mumbai, did a stint with the airlines, got married to an Anglo-Indian by the name of John Crizzle, had two beautiful kids, and then he got transferred to Goa, and here I am in Goa, and I do catering for a living right now. I've been doing this for the last 8 or 9 years, and mainly specializing in Anglo-Indian food, which I follow recipes which have been brought down generations, from my grandmother, my aunts, my mom, my mother-in-law. And so that's what I do. And I've created a bit of a niche for myself in Goa. And because no one else here really does catering for Anglo-Indian food.
So, if people were to go to Goa, where exactly in Goa?
So I work from home. I'm a home chef and I live in Donapola in Panchin. But I deliver all over Goa. And people come home and pick up food from me.
So, when Anglo-Indians do visit Goa, they can come directly and pick up food from you, right?
Yeah, and actually, Aubrey, it's not only Anglo-Indians. It's I've managed to create a niche market here in Goa itself, where there are not many Anglo-Indians who order food from me, but people not within the community. It's like a lot of Punjabis and Goans, and to you know, uh, create a market for Anglo-Indian food amongst the Goans and people who are from outside Goa is quite big, I think. I feel proud of myself for that, for doing that, for being able to do that.
Now, what we at Gain are trying to do is we are trying to kind of obviously have a website at worldgain.org. And in there, we are looking to have this map of India where whenever you go on to any place, you know exactly where each Anglo Indian business, where you can get what. So that is what one of our long term plans are. Now, you have two kids. Tell us something about them.
I've got two daughters, two gorgeous girls. One is 27. Her name is Claudia Crizzle. And the younger one is Chanel Crizzle, who's 20. So Claudia now flies for an airline called Akasa, and she's based in Delhi. And Chanel is finishing her third year of college from the prestigious St. Xavier's University. And both very into sport. Claudia has represented India in the sport of rugby, and so has Chanel. So also they played for Goa. They've represented Goa. Like Claudia has played basketball for Goa, and she used to play basketball and football, and then went into rugby. And Chanel, not to be left out, she wanted to be better. You know that sibling rivalry where if she can do it, I can do better. And trust me, she did. She's really made. She played for India a couple of times, right from the under 18 team and under 20. She was been a part of the senior women's team that went to Japan for the regional qualifiers for the Olympics, and so she's done well. Had a bit of a setback wherein she had to undergo a surgery, which was quite a major PCL reconstruction, and cost a lot of dosh for that. Yeah. So now
Now,
she is back.
she's back. She's playing.
She started playing. She's played a tournament, and now she's waiting to get back into. Now because she's been out of the system, she has to, go step by step and, try and make it back on the team. So,
Now, Andre, coming back to the community when it comes to support, right, and your experiences, what has been your experience with the community, taking you in perspective, taking your daughters into perspective?
see,
Community
it's
there.
a very happy-go-lucky, supportive environment if you come to think of it. And in fact, Chanel was felicitated in Ranchi and by the Anglo-Indian community for her achievement in sport, which was a real boost. I felt happy, and I know my husband, my late husband, would have been really happy because he was wanting the Anglo-Indians to give some sort of recognition to our daughter because as any parent would be, we were proud that our daughter is on the Indian team and
Hmm.
in a man's sport, so to speak. Rugby isn't considered a ladies' game. So, but so he was really proud of that, and he wanted to see her name, like everybody to know, basically. And it didn't happen when he was alive. So he would have been really proud that they had finally recognized Chanel because her grandfathers from both sides had been shortlisted for the Indian the hockey team that were going to the Olympics, two different years completely, like my dad as well as John's dad. And, because of my father didn't make it because his work commitments and his dad said, no, you can't play. What if your leg breaks? And, that old orthodox way of thinking. Like if your leg breaks and you've got, your whole life and your career ahead of you. So, choose work over play, so that's what happened with my dad. And even with John's dad, he unfortunately broke his leg, I think, in hockey at the India camp itself and didn't make it. So for our families, Chanel is and Claudia were the only ones who have represented the country. So it's a big thing, And two girls from one family playing a sport for the country is big,
Now,
especially for
now,
us, the Anglo-Indian community.
and that's the thing, first of all, yes, our community is extremely gifted that way, right? There's no doubt about it, right? But
So,
the idea is to make
absolutely.
sure that there are more Anglo Indians getting out there. It's not just about their stories being told, but we have to push them in a way because right now I find obviously very few kind of Anglo Indians you hear of getting into that, right? Just to tell you, I'll be hopefully doing I'll be doing I'll have a conversation with the Australian captain, Samantha Kerr, I think. She's
Lovely.
also, yeah. So now coming back again with the Anglo-Indian community, what do you think are the problems there? Where can our platform help out in? How can we, bridge any divide or problems, or how can we, push something that you feel that should be pushed?
Uh, we have to start at like literally at grassroots levels and get the youngsters involved, like the more youth, because I did go for the Cochin won the All India Anglo-Indian, the AGM and stuff. That was not in Cochin, the one in Ranchi, where I met you after, many years. So there, it was very heartening to see that there were a lot of youngsters, which was really good. And I think like all branches across the country, they should have the youth involved a lot more, and so that they have a bond, they move forward because now you see this only amongst our age group. In fact, in Cochin at the International Anglo-Indian meet that
Hmm.
was held recently, there were, I mean, I think we were the youngest, Aubrey. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
I mean, like what? They were all older, much older, a lot, not there were no youngsters, and that is what is lacking. We need to involve the youngsters and give them a few responsibilities. Give them, uh, at the moment, it's like, what are they giving us? We are, if we do, or uh, we are not gaining anything from it.
We are hoping to launch, the next Anglo-Indian Association meet is in Melbourne, right? 29, right? And
Yeah.
let's see. I mean, we are going to launch Mission Melbourne 29. for the Anglo-Indians, and let's see how many young Anglo-Indians from India go. I hope there is. So for GAIN, how do you think that we should do? How do we create a solution for this?
Another thing I mean, the solution, we'll all come up with a lot of ideas. Everybody, brainstorms and you'll get your solution. But what I feel, Aubrey, is if you could, in any way, create like uh, I don't know how to put it, but if everybody would contribute and you create a kitty or a fund, okay, for uh, for people who say can't afford education, higher education, who needs to go for a surgery and cannot afford it, okay, where the insurance doesn't cover the entire surgery cost, wherein things like that, it would help. It would help a lot
So,
of people. And
no, okay, continue. Sorry.
so, supposing, like for example, I just, I would just say, supposing I'll give you an example of my older daughter. She won't be happy about it, but I'm going to just say it anyway. So when she finished her class 12 and graduation and stuff, then my husband was very ill, and eventually he passed away. But she wanted to do her master's in criminal psychology. Now, I, as a single parent, and I don't have the kind of finances to support her wish, her dream to do criminal psychology and work towards, becoming a criminal psychologist. She's been wanting to do it from the time she was in the eighth standard. So, for things like that, like if I knew that I could probably depend on somebody like an association that could maybe partly fund her, her education, because there are a lot of people who are donating. There are a lot of Anglo-Indians who give back to the community. I've seen it in Fortune. There is. So, if I was aware that I could have approached somebody to help, I mean, I wouldn't be regretting it today. She wouldn't have regrets today.
So now I'm just going to give you our solution right now. What we're going to do with this, right? So what we are doing regarding this is a GAIN cannot collect the money directly, obviously, because we're not a platform to do that. However, on our website we have crowdfunding, but there is a system to the crowdfunding. Now, either you get onto Milap, or you get into Keto, or you get into Indiegogo, or any of these sites, right?
Milap is an all India thing, right? I know about Milap. It's an all India
Huh,
thing. No, it's not, yeah.
exactly. So what we want to do is, reason being why you're going on to those is they actually do all your various fact finding, KYC, etc. Because
Hmm.
one of the things that we have found, and I've talked to a lot of people, is, oh, I've donated, what happened, what's happening, I donated, then this happened, that happened, and there is that trust kind of thing happening. So when you're going to come for crowdfunding, we'll help you get onto that platform, right? Whatever documents you have to provide, because they're going to ask you a lot of these documents, and then we're going to push for it there, right? Number two is, we are looking at a way of how to work with the associations, right? The Goa
Yeah.
Association to or the Bangalore Association, where we can kind of work on a mechanism of funding that, or helping pushing it to the right people in the right places, right? And we'll work on that. Number three is, I'll just go on to entrepreneurship, for example, right? Businesses you want to start up, we are looking to start an incubation cell as well to help Anglo-Indian startup there, right? We are also looking to make sure we have our counselors in place. So we are going to work and we'll keep on improving if any more ideas come. So that's what's going to happen. Reason being is, I kind of get irritated because sometimes there's just no support, or the support people say, I don't know. I don't want that to happen. Is that all right? Do you think that should go in that direction?
Yeah, it should. It should. I mean, even if Milap is a great way, I mean, the whole country is using Milap, to crowdfund. So what I was saying is like, since you've got GAIN, it's for Anglo-Indians by Anglo-Indians, you know. So why not have something like maybe like an account wherein people put money into that account and somebody managing that and to help people, help the youngsters, help the
I'll tell you.
youngsters do better. to better themselves.
We can look at that, but what happens is that then the whole system changes, and then you have a lot of regulations coming in. You have to be very, very careful of that. That is where
Understood.
we think of doing it of in a way, but the second you get into that, right, you have a lot of government, auditing coming in, this problem coming in, they'll find it that's way. That's the reason why our revenue model is very simple. It's $10 a month. We do not want donations or whatever, because if people are not interested in the community, if they're not going into this, then we kind of have an idea there's no point of continuing this, right?
Correct.
But at
Yeah.
the same time, making sure that the right people know where to give is what we have to do. Because I've also heard people is, I'm ready to help, but who do I do it? I've lost trust. I want the right people to give to.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's where I think of building a little trust would be there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what, Aubrey? I'll give you an example. Year before last, Chanel had torn a PCL, like I mentioned, and she needed to have a surgery. Now, it wasn't a simple PCL reconstruction surgery. We did it. The doctor suggested an allograft. Okay, wherein this PCL, this ligament is flown in from the US. Okay, now that itself costs 4 lakh. Okay, you have to put down a deposit of 4 lakh. Now, I was in a tiz. I mean, this whole thing was going to cost about, I think, approximately 10 to 12 lakh. Okay, is what it was going to cost me, as opposed to doing an autograft surgery, which would, just be about 4 5 lakh, right? So, as suggested by the doctor, and because of Chanel and her, playing for India, and she's a good player, and she's got a whole life and a career ahead of her. So we went for this option, and there's one person who really helped me, like formulate a message, and like we were literally brainstorming, and he said, "This is Jason O'Connor." He said that why don't
Hmm.
we, write an appeal. And at that point in time, I thought to myself, I'm like, I was like, whoa, what am I going to, it's like, am I going to be begging for money? Or, there was a whole lot of conflict of emotions and uh, feeling very low about the whole thing, and it didn't really sit very well with me. But then I thought to myself, can I not for once just put my ego aside and think for the betterment of my daughter? It's not for me, it's for her, it's for her future. And if I can't, squash my ego, and then what use as a mother, So I said, I'll try. So then Jason very nicely came home and we sat and formulated a message. He really helped me with this. And once the message was written, then, I mean, I was like, should I send? Should I not send? I, it was so much of apprehension on my part, wherein I was a little, I mean, I had a bit of a weep and I, diss myself about it, feeling very low, feeling stupid, feeling horrible, everything negative you can think of. So then I sent it out to a few people, not everybody. And Aubrey, what was really, really heartening is that people just gave, you know, people came out and gave and supported. And with people's blessing, like even in Calcutta, Anglo-Indian in Calcutta, Noel Fernandez, he, Paula, and they got together and, you know, they managed to get, funds from a lot of their friends, even if it was like, 500, somebody gave me 500 rupees and I was so touched. I was so touched. I mean, and this was an elderly person. She gave 500 rupees. And I could imagine that 500 must have cost her a lot, at that point in time. And but it really, really, it made me believe again, it made me think like, oh wow, there are people out there. Not everybody is an ass. So yeah, so, I mean everything is not negative. There's so much of positive also. And
You see, a lot of, and taking this into perspective, the reason why I keep telling people we have to get into keto and Milap is, oh no, everybody knows. No. One of the reasons is you can get foreign funding through that.
Correct.
and they
Correct.
provide an easier mechanism to pay. So you're
Yeah.
just leveraging their payment mechanism for this, right?
Yeah.
So, it becomes very easy to pay from that point of view. So that is why I keep telling people that we'll help you do this, right? And then we'll work on that.
Aubrey,
So
you'll be
that's
surprised. There were so many people that came forward and helped, right from even in Goa. So many people came forward. There were people across the world that came forward. Um, and I was able to do her surgery because it wasn't just a surgery, it was you know, the post-operative care also. Uh, it just cost a lot. It just cost a lot of
Hmm.
money. But I think everyone's good wishes and goodwill, and we managed to pull it off. And today, this girl is like working out and giving her best and hitting the gym and like raring to go.
So when
I'm
is she
just
going to play
hoping to
next?
see her in the India colors again. So she's started practicing and training towards a national tournament, which comes up, I think, in April, where she's hoping to
No,
play
but
for that tournament.
in Goa,
No, it won't be in
then
Goa. It's a nationals, so it could be, I don't know where they'll have it, maybe in Odisha or we
okay.
that's
Reason
not
being
fixed yet.
is, what you're going to do is, whenever she's playing, right, we're going to make sure that the Anglo-Indian community there go for that. Yeah,
Okay,
we're going to work on
good.
that.
That'll be amazing.
We're going to show their support, right? So
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
going to try something like that. So whoever's playing where, we're going to make sure the community goes out there and supports that, right? It has to be
that's
something smaller.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's
Thanks,
great.
Andrea. Appreciate the time taken out, right? Please send pictures and videos or whatever you can send. ठीक है?
Of my kids or my
Of
work.
everything, your work, your kids, everybody, whatever you think you want to put onto this video, right?
Sure,
Whatever you say,
sure,
send whatever you think. And I would want to have
sure.
a conversation with your kids as well for this, right? Because we need the
Done,
youth as
done.
well, right? And I mean, we're trying to get as many young guys as possible, young girls as possible. The problem is, uh, it's getting a little difficult to get these guys, or say no time or stuff like that. So we have to kind of work on that. So let's see.
Yeah.
ठीक है? Thanks again, Andrea.
Thanks, Aubrey.
Appreciate the
Thank
time
you.
taken out.
Thanks.
See you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.